Imagine if every time two countries had a dispute, their presidents had to step into a boxing ring instead of sending millions of people to war. One fight, no bombs, no destroyed cities, no soldiers dying for decisions they didn't make. It sounds ridiculous, but when you really think about it, is it more ridiculous than war? War is one of the strangest systems humanity has ever normalized. A small group of leaders argue over power, resources, borders, or ideology, and millions of ordinary people are sent to fight and die for it. The logic is baffling. It's a system where the decision-makers are the furthest removed from the consequences, while those with no say in the matter pay the ultimate price. A soldier on the front line doesn't care about a line on a map. They care about seeing their family again. A child in a bombed-out city doesn't understand political theory. They just want their home back. Sometimes, we are told, war is necessary. History has indeed shown moments where violence was used to stop greater violence, where defending against aggression was the only path to peace. But those moments are rare. They are the exceptions, not the rule. And yet, war continues to appear again and again across history, a recurring nightmare we can't seem to wake up from. It's treated as an inevitable part of the human story, a default setting for resolving our deepest disagreements. But is it? Or is it simply a failure of our imagination, a failure of our diplomacy, a failure of our humanity? Every year, countries around the world spend trillions of dollars preparing for war. Trillions spent on weapons, missiles, tanks, and armies. The most brilliant minds in science and engineering are put to work designing more efficient ways to destroy. This colossal investment in destruction is presented as a necessity for security. And yet, at the same time, millions of people across the world suffer from hunger and preventable diseases. Children go without education. Communities lack clean water. The contrast is staggering. The priorities are inverted. Imagine what could happen if even a fraction of the money used for war was used instead to feed people, to build schools and hospitals, to fund research that saves lives instead of taking them. Imagine if the time and energy spent preparing for war was spent building peace, fostering understanding, and strengthening cooperation. We have the resources to solve so many of the world's most pressing problems, but we choose to invest in the machinery of conflict. War destroys homes, cities, and futures in an instant, but rebuilding them takes generations. The scars left on the land and in the minds of survivors last for a lifetime. And the strange part is that wars rarely begin with the first bullet. Conflicts almost always grow slowly. They are nurtured by fear, competition, political ambition, or historical resentment. They begin with words that dehumanize the other, with policies that create division, with leaders who profit from chaos. The first shot is rarely the true beginning. It is simply the moment people decide that conflict can no longer be solved with words, the moment we collectively give up on peace. In modern times, the logic of war becomes even stranger, even more absurd. Some nations possess nuclear weapons, capable of destroying entire cities in seconds. We now have enough weapons to devastate human civilization many times over. The power to end the world is held in just a few hands, yet those same nations often tell other countries they are not allowed to have these weapons. It creates a strange global rule. Some countries are trusted with the most destructive tools ever created, while others are told they cannot be trusted. It's like a room full of people holding loaded guns while telling the newest person in the room that weapons are dangerous, but refusing to put their own down. This doctrine of mutually assured destruction is presented as a strategy for peace, but it keeps humanity perched on the edge of a cliff, one miscalculation away from the abyss. And yet, despite all this, we continue to accept war as a normal part of politics, a legitimate tool of statecraft. We watch it on the news, we read about it in history books, and we accept its grim reality. Maybe the deeper question isn't whether war can sometimes be necessary. Maybe the real question is why humanity still accepts a system where the few argue, and the many bleed. Maybe it's time to imagine something different, something better, something less ridiculous than war.